Alright, let's go. Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome back to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. This is Kevin Horde.
Lorenzo Fon over here.
Lorenzo, who we got with us today?
We have a special guest, Zac of ReCloned. Go ahead and say hi.
Hey, hello. How's it going?
How's it going, Zac?
Right.
Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, so we're also a Clone Wars rewatch podcast. We're doing one episode every other week. Keep the episodes pretty short, and we have an emphasis on kind of like a modern look at the episodes, trying to pull in a lot of new canon stuff.
So, you have two co-hosts, correct?
Yeah, and then I have two co-hosts, my friends Jess and David.
And Jess has never seen the Clone Wars before, right? So
neither of them have really seen Clone Wars before. Jess has barely seen any of the movies.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, so that's one of our gimmicks is like I've watched all of Clone Wars, but they haven't. So they'll see something and they'll just be like, "What the hell is this? What even is this?" And I'll have to kind of explain what's going on.
So when you guys record, you do kind of a little intro. I forget, do you read like the description of the episode and then you guys like pause and record and go and watch it and then you come back and record the rest of it, right?
Yeah, so we do like an introduction bit, which is usually just some sort of discussion, like an open question or like an explanation of some backstory. Oftentimes Clone Wars has those weird characters. It's like they were in one shot in one movie. So I'll show them like the shot from the movie and then ask them what they think the character is. And then we read the official description of the plot, and then we'll watch the episode, and then we'll come back and do the discussion.
Nice. How'd you come up with this idea? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty clever.
I was listening to a podcast it was a rewatch podcast for Gundam Wing called Let's Talk About Zex, because there's the character Zex Marquise.
Right. We talk about Zex sometime on the show as well. But
yeah, so like they had that format, and I was like, I like this format. I'm just gonna steal all of it.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got a good show, and keep it up.
Thanks.
Fun tidbit of information, because you guys go chronologically, right?
Yes.
As do we.
Yeah.
I thought it was the only appropriate way to attack this 125-piece story, but your guys' show started just slightly before ours.
Yeah.
But we have surpassed you because we're troopers
faster.
And we are going week to week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Kevin and I don't have outside lives, is what.
Yeah.
It's all
so you'll
Star
be
Wars.
done in 2 years. We'll be done in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at 2.5-ish. And
then we'll tackle Rebels or something, or Mandalorian.
At that point,
Oh.
Rebels. Can't do Resistance because we're doing that now.
Right, yeah. Unless we do a revisit. Just for contextual information, just so we can kind of know about you, what's like your favorite Star Wars movie and what's your least favorite?
Ooh.
Just rank the top and the bottom.
yeah.
Nothing in between.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear about it.
So I think top is probably Last Jedi, and then bottom is Attack of the Clones.
Very nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lorenzo and I did... No, okay. Question, does that include the Clone Wars?
Oh, yeah, shit. Sorry. The Clone Wars movie is the bottom. Yeah, I'll correct myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
Usually I
say,
don't count. Yeah, I usually don't count Clone Wars, so I agree with you. Attack would be my bottom, and then when somebody mentions Clone Wars, I'm like, yeah, that one's worse.
It was released in theaters. It has to count, right?
Not only that, but this is the show about the Clone Wars, so it is appropriate to also include the Clone Wars, in that ranking. Now, if you lived in the UK, you can include in theatrical releases at least one, if not both, of the Ewok movies.
Oh no, I've
Did
not
they
seen those. I've
release
only heard
those?
tales.
What? I didn't know that.
Lorenzo, look it up. You know everything about every movie ever made except for that one.
Except for Ewoks. No, that one still flies under my radar. Like,
have you guys seen them?
No.
Nope. I remember buying it on DVD as a gag gift for one of my friends, and we never actually sat down to watch it, even though we said we would.
Was it like the dual? It was both of them.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's by the way, it's not even 2 discs. It's just one movie on one side and one movie on the other side. There's no graphic.
You remember when? Yeah, flippers used to be the thing, man. Like that was like the big thing where it's like, oh, you could get double the space on one disc by flipping it over.
It's like a record, dude.
Well, yeah, it was like that. It was like, look, it's a laser disc, but small. Oh, okay.
All right, yeah.
I guess.
I dig it.
So you can put both Ewok movies on.
Right.
Yeah. You could probably cram them both onto the same side, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like you could compress the hell out of those, and nobody would have known the difference whatsoever. Like,
yeah,
like substandard definition, and nobody would have cared.
It's got a character named Mace. That's a little white kid. It's the first time that we see blurgs, which are those things on Ryloth, the beast of burdens that hate the clones.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Huh.
And there's a witch.
And yeah.
For some reason, Wicket speaks basic.
Yep.
What?
So that is, yeah.
Oh boy, I'll track this down. It's got to be floating around on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, I gotta watch this now.
Right.
I have a copy, so the next time you guys,
I will teach
are
you how to
free and we're
rip
not
that
recording,
DVD.
we'll watch it. You should probably do that, Lorenzo. I should probably learn things about technology.
Right. I will show you the ways.
So this episode comes out on Halloween. So happy Halloween to you guys. Happy Halloween to everybody else.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your costumes picked out?
Kids candy. Yeah, I don't have a costume, but my baby girl is going to be a turtle.
Just a generic turtle, or is there like a specific turtle?
Just a turtle. My mom crocheted a cute shell and hat that she's going to wear.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture later. And my dog, Mr. Chewbacca Presley, is going to be a bomber pilot. He's got a bomber jacket and like the leather head thing and a scarf, and he hates things around his face, so it's going to be a great evening.
Very nice. How about you, Zach?
My boyfriend and I are going as the main characters from the music video for Genghis Khan by Mike Snow. It's this really strange music video.
I feel bad because I have no idea. I've never seen it. So
no, it's very obscure.
Okay,
but it's this like James Bond spy and a supervillain, and it starts as like an interrogation scene, and then it turns into like a romance, and they're dancing together, and it's beautiful. It's the best.
Nice,
very nice, awesome.
Is it a more bizarre music video than that one that came along with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
With David Hasselhoff?
With David Hasselhoff.
I love that music video.
Oh. I don't know if I've seen that.
What is it called? Like Guardians Inferno or something like that?
I don't remember.
Or Galaxy Inferno? I forgot.
Galaxy Inferno sounds correct.
Something like that.
It is mighty bizarre.
Well, because they get the whole cast back, and they're all like in 80s gear, or like 70s gear, really. And they even do like the weird thing where like the screen gets multiplied with like multiple Dave Batista's just like dancing in the worst way.
Weird.
Karen Gillan is just like,
it's good.
She's dancing like how she dances like a normal white person is essentially is what happened.
Yeah.
Like I love Karen Gillan. And I was just like, oh, Karen, come on.
Zach, if I was faster with my mouse, I would have caught a really awesome screenshot of you reacting to the description of that music video there.
Oh boy! So,
but as Lorenzo can tell you, if I'm not currently doing whatever it is, I'm like, how do you do this thing? He's like, hit the plus button. I'm like, where's the plus button? He's like, next to the little phone. I'm like, oh, shit, what's the phone look like? I don't even know.
Which is funny because the phone still has like the old handset symbol, which I don't understand if children would understand. Like,
it's not a rectangle with like a little circle in it.
Right.
Or a piece of fruit.
Like when
if
a
you will.
toddler sees that, what is going through their mind? I need to know.
I will let you know in a couple of years.
Yeah, please do. The armchair psychologist in me needs to know.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Weapons Factory.
This is what happens on our show, by the way. We go on very random tangents. We try to keep it like an hour, hour and a half tops, and I think our longest episode was like 2.5 for no good reason.
2 hours, 32 minutes, 58 seconds.
There you go.
Liberty
Kevin's-
on Ryloth.
I don't remember
Cool.
why. Did I start talking about theme parks or something in that one? Like,
You very well could.
that's usually what
Probably
happens.
Potentially Disney or theme parks, or for a while it was Katy Perry. And
Yeah, it was. It was Katy Perry. Katy Perry via Taylor Swift. I was making analogies on who was the Taylor Swift of the episode and who was Katy Perry. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then after a while, the scripts got better, and I could not place those blanket descriptions on people.
Yeah, the scripts do get better over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for a while, it was definitely like, why doesn't Master trust me? And
Yeah.
Master totally didn't tell me about that thing. Like,
I feel like you're talking about something that happens a little
Yes.
later in this episode.
definitely. It does come
So-
back. So you
I'm
want to
gonna go
get
ahead-
started?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into this, and then we'll get to that point, and then you can just repeat that line you just made. So, again, Weapons Factory. This is season 2, episode 6, production number 208. Original air date is 11/13 of 2009. Directed by Giancarlo Volpe. Written by Brian Larson and Drew Z. Greenberg. Takes place in 21 BBY.
Nice.
Zach, the first thing we do after the first 18 minutes of recording is talk about what we call the fortune cookie, which is like, that little blue script that pops up at the beginning.
Yep.
We attribute that to someone in the Star Wars universe, past, present, or future, doesn't matter. Fortune cookie this week is: no gift is more precious than trust. So I usually kick it to Lorenzo and see what he has to say, and he's always caught off guard every single
Because
time.
I never think about it. I have never thought about these fortune cookies in this way until Kevin started forcing me to. I'm gonna say this one sounds like something maybe Padme might say.
Okay.
Oh.
Zach, do you got any input here? Maybe. Got-
I think I may have been colored by the episode, but I was leaning Luminara.
Ooh.
Field
very
goal.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
who I got.
Yeah.
See, this time I thought
For
about
sure.
it first. I did not let the episode play into my factory. I was like, yeah. I wrote it in my notes. I'm like, that's a Padme thing. Moving on.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely Master Luminara
Yeah.
Undali. So she's got some dialogue kind of throughout that definitely has the same feeling of this fortune cookie. So after fortune cookie, we move on to the newsreel. What do we got going on? Narrator says something about the final surge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which,
It's part recap of the previous episode, and
Mhm.
then, but like it then does set up stuff that we didn't really that we wouldn't have known from previous episodes, such as Luminara joining to save or help out Anakin and Ahsoka.
yeah, the three things that stuck out to me were that it's called like the final surge or the final battle on Geonosis, even though this is like part 3 of 5, so we've
Yeah.
got two
Right.
more stories to go. PTL's plot is to rebuild the droid factory. PTL is, of course, Poggle the Lesser, right?
Where's this
But
going?
I thought it was interesting. I thought they were just like building another droid factory. I didn't realize that this was like a rebuild of the droid factory where C-3PO went on vacation for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't catch that either.
Yeah,
Huh.
because we see the plans in Senate Spy, and then it's just like a brief little one line by the narrator that like he says like his ploy is to rebuild the droid foundry is what he calls it.
Huh.
So I guess after Attack of the Clones, after everybody left, then they went back there and like destroyed the weapons factory.
I
or the
guess.
Droid Factory, or the Droid Foundry, or whatever you want to call it. It's called three different things. I don't really know.
Yeah, we do get factory, foundry,
droid weapons.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what PTL's been up to. Is he's looking to rebuild, not build a second. So that's it. That's all I got. End of show.
That's all there is to talk about for this
That's
one.
all there is to talk about.
So back to theme parks.
Back to theme parks. We're talking about some Disney news, something about a hotel. I don't know.
Oh, God, don't get me started on that hotel. But anyways.
It's old news by now, Lorenzo.
It is old news.
This is Halloween 2018.
That is true. So,
we start the episode proper in Luminara's lat. She
Her
identifies
what?
her lat. It's the LAAT, the low altitude armored transport.
Okay, I had no idea what you were talking about.
we abbreviate everything, by the way. So PTL.
PTL,
that's
lats,
good.
Yeah, that's Annie, Obi.
Annie, Obi. Yeah, my notes are like Annie, Obi, equals something. And that's just when they're talking about whatever.
Okay,
So.
Yeah, Lumi. I think I'll throw out a Lumi every now and then.
I definitely had some Loomies. I got some berries and and some patties also.
God.
And sometimes Padme becomes like Pam, so I sent Lorenzo a message one time that said, haha, I just wrote Pam saves JJ. And he was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. I was like, in my head, there's like one Pam, which would be Pam from the fucking Office.
Right?
Yeah.
And in real life, JJ would just be JJ Abrams.
Yeah.
So
Same
I'm like,
guy.
what? Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
And it
Pam
was like,
saves JJ.
there was no context. We hadn't, like, it wasn't stemming off a conversation. I was just playing video games or something, sitting on my couch.
It's like 10:30 at night. Lorenzo
Right.
gets a text that says, Pam saves JJ.
I'm like, is this some weird spinoff to Kiss Saves Christmas that I don't know about? Like, what? What are you talking about? So,
Talking about Pam and JJ.
be
and
mindful.
the saving
We
they're
have,
in.
we have a guest who has no idea the weird secret language you and I speak now. Like,
Hey, he's going to get caught up.
Yeah, I want to
because
catch up now.
you're right.
We start in this lat. Luminara identifies the landing zone, which is like south of Skywalker, which they finally get it right and call it a landing zone. Last episode, it was just the square.
The square.
Just the square. That was
I
it.
thought the square was when they like rounded up the tanks and they made like a square with the tank. Like they rounded the wagons, but they were all tanks.
Right,
and,
that would be the circle.
I thought it was a circle. They started calling it a square, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a square.
So the square refers to the landing zone because when they had like their overhead view, which we'll see of like the battle plan, right?
Okay.
They're like, we're going to go here, and they point at like a green square that was like drawn, like that's the landing zone, the square. So then the clones called it a square throughout the episode, so
Yeah.
that was weird. But yeah, Luminara checks with Barriss Offee to make sure that like she's prepared, and Barriss Offee is a bizarre young Jedi, I guess, and she like bows and curtsies and then just like waits for approval.
She's very Luminara, is what she is.
She is. So
Or is she just like secretly abused and knows her place? Like,
I don't
Yeah,
really
also
know. It's
that.
hard to tell.
right?
Yeah. Oh, that was a question I had. How spoilery do you get on this show?
Zero spoilers.
Zero spoilers, so I can't talk about future episodes at all.
Oh, you
Oh.
mean like that? Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause,
Lorenzo
like-
talks about Disney all the time, so
Right.
So
Yeah,
because
just go wherever.
Barriss goes bad, so like the
Ew.
like at this point is that like growing inside of her, like a resentment building up? Is that where we're at? It's hard to tell, but
I think we'll probably definitely speculate on that later. My guess would be that this is like what she's known up until this point. She is 21 years old, so she's a little bit older than some of the Padawans that we've seen. And at this point, she's actually younger than Anakin, who's a Jedi Knight, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of those things where it's like, this has been her upbringing up until this point, so it's not until maybe after she meets Ahsoka and sees like a different interaction, and that might open her eyes a little bit, and then further down the road, like this is like the crack in the shell that begins to splinter out, and that eventually just dissolves the shell completely and opens her up to a whole new world.
Yeah, totally.
Aladdin reference.
Very, very timely, by the way.
Yeah.
See, it always comes back to Disney.
Question for you guys. There's a clone on this lat that says, "Buckle your belts and check your cells, soldiers. We're going in." Did you guys catch his name?
No.
Because I thought on... Go ahead, Zach.
I think I saw it in the trivia gallery. I think.
Okay.
I think it was Draw, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Okay. So,
What?
Right?
DRAA is what the closed captioning says. But I thought that when I was reading like the Wikipedia article, they talked about Commander Gree, and I'm like, okay, Gree, Gra, Dra. Like I don't know because he's never named.
No.
I don't even think you see him again, to be honest. But he's given a name in the closed captioning. I'm gonna look. Lorenzo,
Yeah,
you talk
I'm
about
pretty sure it's
what's
in the
going
trivia
on
gallery.
for a little bit because
Right.
I'm gonna look this up.
All right, so what happens here? So they're basically meeting up with Anakin and Ahsoka, and then we eventually cut to Ahsoka and Anakin, and they're in an argument, or they basically jump into an argument. Ahsoka's like explaining battle plans, but Anakin keeps cutting her off, which, to be fair, even annoyed me as a viewer.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
She holds her cool pretty good.
Yeah.
He straight cuts her off a couple of times, and then like afterwards calls him out in front of like all of these clones. But at least she was professional about it up to a point, kind of.
And then
Yep.
they get into this thing about like trust and skill levels and blah 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 blah. So, Ahsoka's
They definitely
feeling
said trust like a number of times.
Right.
They were like, trust, trust, trust. The theme of this episode is trust.
trust.
Oh, which brings up something that we talked about last week, Lorenzo. In like how well does the fortune cookie fit into the episode, and this is an example of it fits in
Where
very, very well.
They thought about it. Whereas last week's we were just like, I guess this is a fortune cookie.
Yeah,
like it is
yeah.
a statement.
Like that is a good thing to throw out into the universe, I guess. But yeah, this one definitely seemed from start to finish a little bit more planned out, for sure. But yep, trust, lots of trust. And then Ahsoka's feeling all burned like Taylor Swift, and
There it is.
so she's planning that song in her head.
Swift Awakens.
Oh God. Then Luminara and Barry walk up, and they're like, "Yo, is everything chill? Because we're chill." And Luminara definitely throughout this episode is supremely chill.
Yeah, she is cold as ice.
Right, like straight up, just cold blooded. Rick James status. Like,
Yeah.
but what else happens here? So
Do you want an update on Dra?
yeah, what's
Yes.
going on there? Please.
Okay, Dra is not included in the Clone Wars encyclopedia.
That you have
But
it
he-
there.
I always have it here.
It's
I
ready to go.
am showing a picture of my Clone Wars encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Is
to
that
our
book
listeners.
good?
there.
Is that worth picking up?
I got it for like $2 at a resell it shop, and it's absolutely worth picking up. Original price is like $17, but
It's still
it's
not
got like
awful.
it says it's got 200 plus Jedi, Sith, droids, aliens, and more. So I'd say it's worth it.
All right.
Wikipedia says that Dra was the nickname of a clone trooper who served in the 41st Elite Corps during the Clone Wars. So there you go. He's a clone commander. CC-1004.
Ah, yeah, CC-1004. Yeah, I remember.
That one,
him.
yes.
Now you guys know. You guys have met. We know who Dra is. We'll never see him again.
And it will change the course of this episode.
Oh,
Yep.
wait, we do see him again. Rex asks him to destroy some droidicas, and he readily obeys.
He's the
That's
one
his-
with the launcher.
He is the one with the rocket launcher.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, there he was, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
You get them, clone. You get them, draw.
Closing that page.
And never opening that again.
Nope. Okay,
So
so
it's-
where are we at? We're talking about Anakin, Ahsoka, and
Yeah.
Trust.
So we do the thing again where Ahsoka lays out the plans to the clones, and then we get another scene of laying out more plans between the 4 Jedi. And then Lumi talks about how there are these like catacombs underneath because that's how the Geonosians live. So, a frontal assault on the droid factory is probably a suicide mission. But if you quietly go from underneath and up, I guess, trying to make that not sound creepy, you go through the bottom and
I'm going to let you work this one out, Lorenzo.
you just sneak in through the back door and then nobody will see anything. And they're planning on planting some bombs to go through the whatever boom boom spot. Just made it so much worse again.
To be perfectly honest, it's nobody's business which door they're going through. And if they are going to climb down the Super Valley and create their own entrance, so be it.
Yeah.
So the other thing that comes up is Anakin is like, okay, so who's going to go through the catacombs? Because, like, you could get lost.
Yep.
And, of course, Luminara was like, well, I had Barriss memorize the whole thing, and it's no big
All
deal.
200 junctions.
Yep.
Which can we talk about that? That is crazy. What?
Right.
Why?
Also, like, they have
Well-
the hologram right in front of them. Is that not something they can put in the wrist comm to, like,
Yeah.
I don't...
Oh, what are the chrono?
Oh, the
Something or other?
chronometers. We haven't even gotten to the
Chronometer.
chronometers yet. Just the why was her homework here memorize this entire catacomb?
Right.
Because Luminara is an asshole.
Yeah, that's what it is, I think.
And that's why Barriss is an abused puppy that needs to be cared for. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
this is why she's bowing to people. And, like...
Yeah, we definitely breezed over that. Like, not only did she bow to Luminara in the lat, but also when they're leaving the lat to approach Anakin and Ahsoka, who are arguing, Luminara's like, "Oh, they're at it again, huh?" And Barriss is like, "What, again?" And then she explains that that Anakin and Ahsoka run fast and loose with any protocol or rule of engagement or whatever.
Which is accurate. That's completely
It is.
accurate.
So when the 4 of them meet, Luminara's like, all right, offie, fucking introduce yourself. And she, like, does the thing from the new Planet of the Apes movies where she, like, bows and puts her hand up, like, waiting for approval.
Well, she, like, yeah, it's like almost bowing like to in Harry Potter when you have to bow to the hippogriff. Like,
Yeah.
Very true.
don't make eye contact. Don't. Yep. Is it looking at me yet? Is it looking at me? And then Ahsoka pulls like a Lord of the Rings and it's like, friends, you bow to no one. Get the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So in this story, she is the hippogriff named Caesar Milan,
oh god.
and she talks to. I don't know. I got
This-
nothing.
This is the universe mashup nobody wanted.
But I'm thinking, like, while Luminara is, like, making Barriss do this stuff, she's also like, pour this hot wax on you. Right?
Jesus Christ.
Here, memorize this entire catacombs. Oh no,
Right.
just kidding. That's the wrong catacombs. Memorize this entirely different catacombs now.
Now memorize it backwards.
Yeah, now memorize it backwards.
Like,
Barriss
there's
is,
surely
got
better
her homework
things.
all over her walls.
Right. Like, there's like a friend knocking on the door, like, hey, we're gonna get drinks. You want to come out? No, it's okay.
Why did you have to knock on the door? I was on 197. Now I gotta start over.
She's like sitting there with like flashcards of junctions. Like, what's she doing? Like, just yeah.
Which I guess it kind of works, right? I mean, we'll
Kind of.
find
We'll
out
get
here in
to
a
it.
little
We'll
bit.
get to that.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that because let's just say she fucks up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anakin's like, yep, you always were thorough, and it's not really a compliment. He's
just being his usual ass self.
Yeah, pretty much. Ahsoka wants to know essentially what the distraction's going to be. Like, they have their mission, and so Ahsoka asks, like, okay, well, like, how are we going to block this party's attempt at breaking and entering? And it's Luminara, right, that says, oh, me and Anakin will distract PTL, and the Paddies, they're going to do the thing. Anakin doesn't like this idea at all. Ahsoka is definitely sticking up for herself, brings up trust again, risky assignments, blah, blah, blah. And Annie just straight calls her out, and he's like, unlike Barriss, you aren't prepared.
Again, sick burn, man. Like,
Right, so
some
Luminara sticks
cold-blooded
up
burns
for
going
her.
across.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we get to sync our chronometers now, which are like USB drives with lights on them. That I don't understand. Like,
Again, in this world, why do you have to sync them? Why isn't this not
Yeah.
a thing that just...
I thought they were already like all synced anyway.
Right.
Yeah. They
So
also have communicators. Like, they have the, like, wrist
it's like the
communicators.
same fucking thing, and they just like put it on top of their communicator, and then they all press the button when Luminara says. She's like, okay, everybody press the button, and Barriss like presses the button and then like has to bite her tongue at the same time or something, and then they all light up, and there is no chronos being metered by these things.
Nope.
Also, is that just a watch? Did they have to install a watch into their, like, smartphone on their wrist? Like, is that what
yeah.
they did?
I think what they did was like they put an analog watch on top of their Apple Watch. Is what happened.
And then they sunk them up all at the same time.
Right. Like they pushed the button in on the side. Like you guys know the Apple Watch is like synced to satellites.
It's got like quartz crystals and shit.
Right.
Yeah, it's got kyber crystals inside of it. It's synced to Coruscant time. Like, we're all good. Like,
We're good. Yeah. Like CST,
This is
Coruscant
a damn
standard.
good point.
Right. So, but yeah, technology in this universe always sounds cool, and then also is like, wait, what?
It doesn't sound cool. It sounds stupid. Nobody calls a watch a
chronometer.
chronometer.
I'm gonna
Yeah, that
start
sounded
now.
dumb.
I'm waiting for my Apple chronometer. Okay, but I can't even fucking say it right. God damn it!
It's because it's a dumb word.
I pre-ordered
This-
my Apple chronometer. Son of a bitch.
This
Chronometer.
reminds me.
Chronometer.
Chronometer.
English second
Chronometer.
language, best bastards. Like, that's how it works.
Chronometer.
Chronometer.
This reminds me of an episode of Power Rangers that I saw where they were in their droid. I don't even remember which iteration this is. It's probably like season 8 or 9, somewhere there. It might be when Tommy Oliver comes back as like the professor, the teacher.
I stopped watching when
That would
Kimberly
be-
left, so
That would be like Dino Thunder, I want to say.
Yeah, I remember that. Mhm.
So they're in like Megazord form, and they're fighting some type of ice monster, and whoever the Red Ranger is like, quick, hit the thermometer. And somebody turns around and there's a button on the wall that says thermometer, and they hit the button, and then they like emanate heat out of the Megazord, and it like melts the ice beast.
So is it metering anything?
It's metering thermos, I guess.
I think it was 1 meter of thermo.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, it's good to know. Well,
Nice.
but so they work in meters, but was it still in Fahrenheit?
Yeah. Definitely.
It's like meters of Barriss Offee pressure and how much wax buildup there is, I think. I'm sticking with this. We're rolling with it the entire episode. You can't talk me out of it.
So does she get kicked around like Dobby too? Like, does Luminara like use the butt of her lightsaber to like knock her around? Like,
I don't think it's physical. I don't think it's like. I think it's entirely all mental stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. She never, like, I never laid a hand on her. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
So, it's at this point that Ahsoka and Barriss Offee literally run into their mission. Like we saw Ahsoka and Anakin doing last week. They full on dead sprint running somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Like they have backpacks ready, which I don't know how they had that ready to go. Like,
it's like a backpack of bombs too, right?
Right.
Yep.
Like they were discussing the plan.
Anakin and Ahsoka just like have these laying around all the time.
Oh, I bet they do. Anakin and Ahsoka definitely have bags of bombs lying around.
Bags of bombs, a satchel of explosives.
Yeah.
I mean, he is that emo kid that would. Like, there's no surprise there.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, their plans are just like knock things over and blow them up.
Pretty much, yeah.
And when all else fails, like, cut stuff and blame each other.
Yep.
Right.
Very emo. Makes sense.
Sweet Lord.
So, Luminara and Anakin are rediscussing the plan now. And apparently the plan, Anakin calls it parade style. And this is, I praised this show last episode, I think, because I was like, man, we got this, like, giant battle going on, and there's, like, ships fucking flying around, and things are blowing up, and other shit's happening, and we're moving around, and it's, like, a grander scope, and then Anakin's like, time out, we're going to get on the road, and we're just going to walk toward each other, and that's how we're going to make a distraction, is line up in a row and fucking walk toward them.
Yeah. Is the Umbara arc after this or before this? Do you two remember the Umbara arc?
I do not.
That has got to be after
with
this.
Master Krell, the four-armed guy.
No,
that is after this.
Yeah,
that's like season 3.
It's making me think of partway through the Umbara arc. Krell is this Jedi, and he takes over control of some army, and he's like, yeah, we're going to take the city, and we're just going to walk down the road to the city. And like, you spend a lot of time with the clones, and the clones are like, this is a bad idea. This is a really bad idea. Why are we doing this? That's what this makes me think of.
Yeah, I think Luminara is just like, bold, I guess. Like, it'll work. But I feel bad for these clones because Anakin's literally like, hey, you guys are going to line up, and we're just going to walk that way, and some of you are going to die, but we're doing this as a distraction for what the actual plan is. So...
Which, do the clones know that's happening, or are they just like all standing there like, okay, we're going on a bridge,
to know.
Zero cover?
That's a good question.
They must know.
Do they?
I think they're totally cool with dying.
I bet that Rex and Dra know.
Definitely Dra.
The higher ups, like Dra.
And like CT-1003, he's too low.
That's the cutoff.
He doesn't know.
But you guys bring up a good point though. Like, they do know they are meant to be expendable.
Yeah, we get a lot of that in the Clone Wars.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Plo is the only one that cares. So.
Yeah.
All right. So then they're going parade style. There's zero cover. Anakin's like, whatever. We got this. Is this when we cut to we finally see PTL in the flesh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the tactical droid says that there are 10 garrisons ready.
Yes.
So here's another thing I don't understand with this whole droid foundry business is that it's supposed to not be operational yet, but it totally is. They already have 10 garrisons like off the line, and then there's like a secret weapon that PTL and TAC droid are talking about.
Yep.
And we'll find out what that is later. It's a super tank. It is not a regular tank. It is a super tank. And so the thing is operational. Like,
Yep.
I think it's Rex or Dra or Annie or somebody. I think it's Annie says, like, you know, what's he say when they're marching toward each other? And he says, as long as we kill them faster than they can make them, this will be will end up being quite all right. I think Luminara's like, yeah, as long as the factory's not up and running, but it is.
Yeah, because a bunch of
unless
droids
they
start
just
walking out.
unless they like just turned it on this morning or something.
Maybe it's like accelerating. Like maybe they were like coming out really slow and they're like turning on more and more conveyor belts, I guess.
There's spoiler
sense.
alert for like 3 minutes from now, but Ahsoka and Barriss break into the place and run through all 200 junctions, right? And make it to the center of what is called the control room, which isn't a control room, so I'll bitch about that later. But they see like all these conveyor belts running every different direction.
Yeah.
And it's pretty well full on ready to go.
The exact thing that the TAC droid says, and the TAC droid, which is never designated but via Wikipedia, is TX-21.
Yeah, it probably says TX-21 in Arbesh on
Somewhere.
his persons. Because usually, like, the TAC droids do say T. Looks
Really?
like
Somewhere.
this.
All right, good to know. Never noticed that whatsoever. So the TAC droid does say they're running at 50% capacity.
Right.
So
it's operational.
yes, to 50%.
Yeah.
So like maybe like one half of conveyor belts is going, but they're just waiting for parts for the other, I guess. I don't
Yeah, it doesn't completely make sense.
know.
So as long as Anakin is able to kill half of the droids, he'll be good.
Well, because
I
then
guess.
is that 25% remaining droids then, or how does that work?
No, it would be because it's only making half of them. So as long as he can kill half of
Half
what?
of the half, or
Half of the whole.
okay?
Which he doesn't know what the whole is. So he's
Yeah.
got to give it his best, and as long as he doesn't fail more than 50% of the time, he's okay.
Yeah.
I don't like those odds.
Never tell me the odds.
No. All right, so the topside battle begins, right?
Yeah, what do you got about PTL? You were happy that we met him, and now we're just moving on without even really talking about him.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't recall being PTL's there. Like he's just clicking away with his old man
Alright.
cane. I don't know.
There we go.
Like he's there to run the show, and then the TAC droid from an audience standpoint is there to translate,
Yeah.
which I think is obnoxious but funny at the same time. Like
Now,
It's so
correct me
weird,
if I'm
it's-
wrong. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, it's so weird that it's like Star Wars and we still like don't have subtitles for PTL. Like,
right.
Like he's speaking some language. Like we know he's intelligent, but
Right.
we still need like another character for him to like bounce off of. Like what?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought that PTL had subtitles in Attack of the Clones. Am I wrong?
He
I don't
does.
think so.
I
Oh,
thought.
yeah?
Somebody has subtitles in Attack of the Clones, but I'm not going to sit down and verify that for a long time. So
Oh yeah. I'll never choose to watch Attack of the Clones ever again.
right. Like it's got to be part of like some completionist marathon that I'm going through or something. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I do this every couple of months. But it's time for the new segment of the show that Lorenzo didn't know about, and this is Kevin makes Lorenzo do an impersonation of a character that is going to make him sound foolish. So,
no.
PTL, what give me a PTL impression.
No. Because it's random clicks and then like I feel like rawr, rawr, rawr.
That was amazing.
That was pretty good.
That was real good.
That's more of like my Birdo impersonation. Like, between my Birdo and like my Yoshi, like rawr. When Birdo's like puking up the eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good.
Super Mario 2, Kevin.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I gotcha.
I need Birdo added to Smash Brothers. That's the last thing I have to say about that. So
I forgot that character's name is Birdo, but I definitely remember the I didn't know they were eggs. I thought they were like crystal balls with lightning or something.
She was just puking them up, you know. And then I always felt bad that you had to then pick up her eggs that she puked out and then like toss them in her face. like fuck you, Birdo, get out of my way. Like those are my children.
This is what we could have had in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
If PTL was not an insect.
Yeah.
Did you want Poggle puking up stuff?
An avian. Yeah. And they had like
force hurl them back.
Yeah. Throw them back at him.
So I think this is around the time when Luminara and Anakin are on the bridge. They're traveling, and Anakin says something like, "Oh, I hope Barriss and Ahsoka are like through the valley by now," and they're not. They're like on the wrong side.
They're still crawling down.
They're like going down.
Yeah,
and they sunk up the chronometers. Like they planned it. Like they chose when they were going to start everything. How are they not?
Yeah, but they didn't. They did sync their chronometers, but they did not have a timeline. It was like start the timer and then okay, we're gonna like do the thing, and then that was it. And it was like, hey, let me know when you're done, and we're gonna go sacrifice some clones.
Yeah,
right.
To the bug gods. My question is, where the fuck have they been running? Luminara and Anakin had time to like organize this whole thing and go over to the bridge with tanks and, you know, I don't know, like 100 clone troopers or whatever, and they're just now like climbing down the cliff.
Yeah.
Also, why are they like bouldering down the cliff? Like, do they not have rappelling gear that might have sped that up a little bit, or
they did in the last episode, right? They had the like the cables,
right? They did. They shot because they went up the stupid wall.
Yeah,
they only go up. Grappling hooks do not go down.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And my thought was like, couldn't they just like jump down and do that like cool like force push at the bottom before they like smash into the rocks? But I guess it's too far because they are climbing for a while and it does look pretty tall. But they do get to the bottom.
Yeah.
And Barriss gives the wall like a hug and a listen to, and she's like, "That's the spot," and then cuts like a perfect door.
What was she listening to? There's nothing on the other side. Okay.
She's listening to the Force.
But, like, she wasn't knocking on it either. Like, I don't... Like, was she feeling hollowness on the other side? Like, her soul? Like...
Yeah, like, what was she doing?
Yes. All of these things are correct.
She's like, it's cold in there, just like me. This is the spot.
I did want to
She
talk
memorized
about the
junctions, guys. She memorized the junctions.
Well, then she shouldn't have had to like sense for it. She should have just known where it was.
Maybe she just likes rocks and she was giving it a hug.
Okay, no, that one makes the most sense.
But like, I mean, I know where the HDMI ports on the back of my TV are, but I still gotta like visually check where they're going. Like,
do you ever hug your TV, Lorenzo?
I guess so on occasion. It's it's a lovely TV I've had for years and years and years. So
you need to upgrade.
Yeah, if it ever goes on me, I'm so screwed because I don't have the budget for a new TV. So
you need to upgrade.
I know.
Sorry to tell you.
I want that sweet UHD. So
Barriss cuts this door, and she cuts a rectangle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we haven't seen anyone else cut a rectangle with their lightsaber.
Good point.
We have seen people cut like some perfect circles repeatedly. And I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the thing that really bugs me. And that's when she turns this rock into like molten fucking rock. And usually they just like immediately like put their hand up on it, even though it's like glowing red.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem to happen. So I guess I'm okay with it. But I think they did definitely like walk across the bottom, so their feet are probably burned.
Yeah,
which sucks for them.
Like, also, how lucky were they that the rock wasn't too deep that the lightsaber couldn't go all the way through? Because it still
that's
looks...
what she was listening for,
right? Like, just where's the shallowest part here?
200 junctions.
Yeah,
I thought there was going to be like a little termite hole there. I didn't think that she was gonna, because like in the
Yeah,
hologram
in the diagram,
thing,
yeah.
it looks like it's like right there,
Yeah, you're right.
but it's not.
No.
So she makes a hole. They go inside. The fight is happening up on the bridge. Tactical TZ-21 or TX-21 or whatever his name is. He like messages somebody and he's like, "Don't attack." And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, "All right, now attack."
Well, he
Like,
literally
spring
out
the
loud
trap?
says trap. Yeah, like out loud, he's like, "Let them walk into the trap." Like, why are you saying this out loud?
Yep.
There's fucking people everywhere.
He's talking into his chronometer. That
Is
they
he
all
not?
synced
Is he
before
not
the
built
battle.
in with one? Like, did he still have to put another piece of equipment on himself, even though he is technically
Uh-huh.
equipment?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're not in communicators. They're a separate piece.
It's like Golden Tony wearing a hat.
What?
No, nothing.
No. What?
All right.
I got nothing.
It would be like C-3PO like putting a hat on. Completely
Okay.
unnecessary
Oh,
but
okay.
stylish.
See,
Right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess.
We'll move on. Barriss locates the tunnel. Nope, Sherry did that. She cut through. There's a whole bunch of bugs inside. Like a lot of bugs. And apparently they're all sleeping. And as they're sneaking through, like one drops its hand and like it lands on Barrissoffy's head.
Which I do enjoy the attempt at an orchestral jump score thing.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah, like it's all quiet. She's crawling. Brung. Okay,
They
I
tried.
mean, yeah, like there was no tension leading into it. They just threw it out there. It always, anytime something like that happens, it always reminds me of Scary Movie when the girl's like in the garage getting beer, and like a noise happens in the corner of the garage. She's like, "Oh, Kitty, you scared me," and then something else happens. "Oh, Horsey, you scared me too."
Other kitty.
Like, it's just not a fan of these cheap jump scares. So, and this one's fairly bad.
I did like the visual of like all the bug like arms and like antennae stuff kind of like sticking out, and they had to like sneak through it.
I had this feeling that like Ahsoka's backpack was gonna like nick one
Yeah.
of them or wake it
Yeah.
up. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen. And then she got through and I was like, whoo! And then this bug hand like lands on Barrissoffy's face and she freezes. Ahsoka saves her.
Well, Ahsoka doesn't notice at first, which is very Taylor Swift of her.
I think she doesn't care. I don't know if it's that she didn't notice.
No, I don't think she noticed.
Because Barriss is the one that's like, Ahsoka,
Yeah.
yo bitch. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, there's a hand on my face. Yeah.
Hand on my face.
So, yep, then they gently move the hand, carry on, but the bug wakes up.
They leave. The bug does wake up. We do a little wipeout to battle. Luminara and Anakin are fighting. Lumi thinks that they should have made it to the catacombs. Annie hopes they're not lost. We cut back to the Paddies. They are almost lost because they have hit a dead end, and they're supposed to make a left, and there is no left to be taken. So Luminara thinks about it for a little bit, and apparently she had one of her flashcards like turned sideways, and left is actually up.
Yep.
So they just force jump up through the ceiling, and then we see this bug that she woke up with her face slowly come up behind her, and then like fly up through the hole.
This bit
Back
sounded
to the
like
battle.
that bit where she was mistaken sounded like if Ahsoka was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna tell Luminara that you like misremembered this bit." Barriss would just like take out her lightsaber and be like, "You're not telling her shit."
We will
I
figure
thought
this
you were
out.
gonna say she was like gonna punish herself like Dobby, like
God.
start beating her head with a rock or something.
She just finds like the backpack and just no.
No, because I think she's just got like a building like rage up inside of her.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So we got some droidicas that pop out, or roll up, or do whatever destroyer droids do, right? And Anakin calls for help from Rex, and I guess Rex calls for help from Dra. And Dra shoots the bazooka, kills the destroyer droids, then AT-ATs are blasting all over the place, more droids are dying. We cut back to PTL. He is pissed. And at this point, the tech droid wants to use the secret weapons and says that there are 20 ready with more on the way. So I guess not only is this thing 50% capable of making droids, but it is also capable of churning out these super tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So super tanks are deployed.
So this bit kind of made me think of like a real-time strategy game where you're kind of like trying to manage like, okay, I made my tank factory and it's churning out tanks as fast as it can, but like I'm also being attacked, and you kind of have to like make the choice of like, when do you take the tanks and like push off, or do you wait and do you get more tanks before you like put like. It just seemed like a very like small scale, like they're coming out like once every minute or something. And
so you're saying that like slightly off screen, there's a bunch of guys that are like, "Oh shit! Like we got to build more barracks like real quick."
we have to construct additional pylons. We have to yeah, like they're sitting there like going as fast as they can.
Is it like a Lucy in the Chocolate Factory situation where she's just like, "Oh god, oh god, we're building this. We got it. Here are all the pieces."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Very, very, very nice.
Like, is there like a speed like Lego building competition or something like?
but with explosives.
Right.
They used to do one of those at Celebration. When I went to Celebration 3 in Indianapolis, they had it was like a 4-person team speed build of the Star Destroyer UC Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
Which was pretty awesome. I don't know what the prize was, but it was like, I feel like it was like tournament style, maybe?
Was the prize Anakin's respect? Call back.
Like, I got nothing, man. I was trying to come up with something clever and failed completely.
I think
good. It probably was.
It was Anakin's respect, yeah.
It was Anakin's.
Please tell me like Filoni just walked in and was like, "You got my
life."
respect," and then like he just walks out back to the next panel.
Right. They're like, "All right, well, you get Anakin's respect, so we'll just ship you up to Canada, and you can hang out on his llama farm or whatever he's got."
Yep.
So there's that. Super tanks are deployed.
Right, that's where we were.
Yeah.
Luminar calls them the Separatist new toy or something, and then Annie's like, "Rex, pick your targets." I don't really know. We cut back to our Padawan adventure. They find the droid production line, and then they head to the control room, apparently. This bug is still trailing them. We're cutting back and forth here between tanks and fights and Padawans, and I'm going to stick with the Padawans because I think that's more entertaining and engaging than what's going on the surface. The Padawans do make it to the control room, which is not a control room at all. What it is like a power source in the middle of this termite dome.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the Death Star reactor. Right,
or the main reactor and like the donut ship that Anakin accidentally flew into and in the Phantom Menace, like same thing.
Hey, he did spinning, so there's strategy and
visually, it reminded me of the Master Control program in Tron.
Yes,
do you remember that where it's got the two cones like on top of it, like, and that's like for some reason that's just like exactly what it was.
Basically, yeah. It really was.
Except for it's red. Isn't it red?
It's red. It's red in both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, because like in Tron too, like because I think that was actually just like traditionally animated, depending on what shot it is. Like, because sometimes it's CG and then sometimes it's just hand drawn because it's just easier, and CG had its limits. But there were only like 4 different things it could actually do. Like they're like, yeah, we don't have money to draw more frames. Okay, just have it keep spinning. More spinning.
That's a good trick.
More spinning. Yeah, that's all it does. And then damn it goes back to spinning. See?
Yep. Yeah, and it's not a control room.
Definitely not.
No, it's not.
But they place a bunch of these charges around. How many charges do they actually need to blow this thing up? Like, they're placing a buttload.
One.
Right. They only
I
need
think they just need one.
Yeah, like just a couple, right? Like just to disrupt the power flow, and then that will.
Yeah.
So you just need to sneak a proton torpedo down this ventilation shaft through 200 junctions, and it will start a chain reaction that will destroy the entire droid foundry.
Hey, to be fair, that proton torpedo learned all 200 junctions. So.
It also made a right turn down, and in this case, they made a left turn up. So we're kind of the opposite of that situation there.
Yeah.
So our little bug companion, our little Geonosian spy that's been trailing the Paddies has ran to PTL and Tactical Droid Man and ratted him out. Ahsoka's ready to go. But alas, enter Super Tank and the Tactical Droid and PTL for some reason, because it's one of those Clone Wars things where it's like everybody's invited to the showdown party.
Yep.
So I guess they just had a Super Tank like waiting there. I'm not really sure. Like if I ever build a control room, yeah.
It was on the way, so it was like they were making them as fast as they can, and they were like, well, we got 20 now, but if we wait, we'll have more. So they sent out the 20, and then another one just like rolled off the end of the line while they were like moving.
Yeah, it just goes
and
rogue
that's right,
and takes right. Like
that's like right next to the control room.
Yeah, definitely right next to the control room.
When I build my secret base underground and I have a control room, I'm going to make sure the door is large enough to drive a tank through.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case two people show up on foot, you know.
I like how you kind of did like a half air quote on people there.
I almost said humans. They're not. Neither of them are humans.
Our last guest said that too, where they're like started saying humans, and they're like, but they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are they people? Like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, they're
people.
They're people, but
yeah, they're not humans.
I'm not sure what people means. I mean,
just
you can
sentient beings. Yeah, right. And they get the full vote. You know.
Yeah.
Not that 3/5 business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what makes you a person, is the ability to vote. So what about are there
yes,
are there like no
it.
people in North Korea?
No. If you've ever met one, no.
Although I did hear that the last election in North Korea, it like Kim Jong Un got 100% of the vote and had 100% voter turnout.
Wow.
That sounds amazing for him.
Yeah, this is shortly after his first game of golf ever, where he scored an 18.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
All holes in ones. Yeah.
He must be pretty good, man.
Hey, man, it's always sunny all the time in North Korea. We all know this for a fact.
Yeah. I think that's a show. I might be wrong.
Going back to the people thing, it might be language. Because in Trespass, when they go to the like abominable snowman planet,
yeah,
there's the bit where the one group is like, no, they're not people, they're just animals, we're gonna kill them, and then there's the other group that's like, no, they're people, like they need to like be registered in the Republic, and it's like up until the point where they start talking to them and like communicating, that I think it kind of it's like they speak language,
yes,
and they can wear clothes.
Maybe it's like the ability to murder, because immediately after that, they just murder that dude that was like, you aren't people, and they're like, yeah, we are, kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely remember talking about that episode where I was like, for a hot second, I was like, I don't know why, but I've never made the delineation between alien and animal in the Star Wars universe, and I don't know why I've never explicitly thought about the fact that Obi-Wan is riding something on Utapau that might be sentient, but we just don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't think
they want
it is. In the novelization of that, and Lorenzo and I have talked about how the novelization isn't officially canon anymore, which blows my fucking mind. But in the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan, like, force connects with a bunch of these boga, is what they are, and picks her because they had, like, a mental connection, and he's not, like, riding her like a beast of burden, but he's communicating with her, and she is deciding, like, where they need to go to accomplish this common goal that they have.
So is this by connecting ponytails? Is that what they're doing?
Well, he doesn't have a ponytail at that point.
But Anakin could.
Right. So they're just getting real freaky with the boga by connecting those ponytails.
I think so.
Yep.
Just double checking.
I hope so.
Just double checking. All right. So where were we now?
Enter Super Tank.
That's right.
A few weeks ago, we got stuck in Palpatine's office for a while, and now we're stuck in the control room, which is pretty much the same thing, I think. We've got a bunch of Geonosians that come in. There's a little standoff. They run around and, like, remove the bombs, and okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They make quick work of it. They're like, "Yep, we got this."
I guess they just didn't detonate the thing because it would kill them also.
Right.
Is that
They
what
were
I'm
waiting.
gathering?
Yeah, they're waiting to get out. Like, were they going to go back the same way?
I don't know, because that's where the Geonosians went. They like did a ring around the rosy and, like, pick up all the bombs.
Right.
And
Yeah, I didn't
jumped in the
follow
hole
this.
and closed the lid.
Like, I couldn't follow if they were, like, a timed bomb or, like, what exactly the plan was.
It would be smart to have a timed bomb with a chronometer. Like, that might have been helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess they didn't sync the bombs to the chronometers.
Oh, yeah, they should have had a scene at the start where the bombs got in a circle, and then they all,
And
like...
they all had to, like...
Yeah.
Right after they also discussed their own plan on another hollow pad.
In this instance, which bomb is pouring wax on the other bombs?
I just don't think anything hot should be around the bombs in general. So,
Yeah.
so Barry's got to watch it with the hot wax pouring while she's got that backpack of bombs. So
I thought you were going, like, alluding there that Barry couldn't be around him because she herself was hot as a person.
I'm gonna point out that you're the one that knew real quickly that she was 21.
I looked it up.
She does not look 21.
You knew that real fast.
No, but if you look at the actress that played her in Attack of the Clones, she does not look 21 in the opposite direction. She looks older than that.
Huh.
I looked it up because I was like, okay, how old are these people? Because she's acting so subservient, right? I'm wondering how long this thing's going on. We know Ahsoka is like 15 at this point. Anakin is 19 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, how old is Miss Barriss? She's 21. I looked up Luminara Undali, and the closest that I could find was like 30 to 40-ish years old.
Wow.
So there, Lorenzo.
I
I'm just
figure,
saying.
like, if
Go ahead.
Anakin's like 19 or 20, and he was getting real pissy that he wasn't on that Jedi Council, but Barriss is just sitting there like, yeah, Luminara, like, when are you gonna put me on that council? And Luminara's like, well, it's just not time yet. You're just not ready.
Go get the hot wax. Go get the hot wax.
And then, like, as she turns around and, like, walks and leaves the room, you just hear her muttering to herself, like, "You'll get them next time. You'll get them next time. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay."
poor Barriss.
Lost the battle, didn't lose the war. Lost the battle, didn't lose the war.
Aw.
Just keep plugging away. Just keep plugging away. They'll notice. They'll notice the good work you're doing. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Aw.
So
Just keep mopping the floor. Just
somewhere-
keep mopping the floor.
You can
No, that's
keep
fine.
on going if you like.
No,
I'm
I just
enjoying myself.
I just want to make one more note that you just knew she was 21 the way that everybody knew when Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen turned 18. Like, just
Well, it's not like it's her birthday party, dude. And I was like, yeah.
just saying, right?
saying.
It was just very quick. You're like, she's 21.
She is
It's
the-
good.
You should be happy for this for her. She's like the most conservatively dressed
She
female
is.
character that we've seen aside from Shakti.
That's true. Yeah. And I do appreciate that there is
Yeah,
no
I do too.
awkward midriff action happening, no weird tiny
Yeah.
skirts and 70s disco boots happening.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see one Jedi with furry boots show up or some Uggs or something, you know. See how it goes.
I will track that down and
Yep, we need to see if there are any thick boots on any of these people.
I will look through my Clone Wars Encyclopedia of Characters, or whatever it's called, that I showed you guys earlier.
Yeah.
That you laughed at me about.
That was cool.
And then
it's coming handy.
I'm going to be happy in my information gathering, and I'm not going to share. So there.
The conservatively dressed bit. It seems like I was trying to think. It seems like all the Jedi women are either like in a bikini or in like a full dress and like a head covering. There's no mid ground.
Right.
And like all the men are like, yeah, I wear like comfortable robes. They're like they're easy to fight in,
free flowing,
in a
they're
tunic.
Nice. Yeah, like
they're easily replaceable, you know.
Yeah.
But nope. Ahsoka's just gonna walk around in that mini skirt and tube top, and
I'm pretty sure there was like a behind the scenes thing that kind of talked about that, and they're like, yeah, but like she's wearing tights. Like she's not in a mini skirt. She's got pants on under them.
Nope.
Pretty sure that's the thing that happened.
They got to draw those pockets on better or something. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Like they gotta. No, there's nothing there. It's weird. Yeah, I definitely go on clothing rants a lot, because just makes me uncomfortable in a children's show. Just
it's weird.
Endlessly uncomfortable. So
yeah.
But yeah. So where are we headed at? Where are we now? So the bombs have been taken away.
Yeah.
Bombs have been taken away.
The tank
is
in the room.
Away.
They're fighting the tank.
The tank is in the room.
So the boss level we're at.
Yeah, so before we find out what happens at the end of that, I was going to say we cut away, but we don't yet. What happens? They're like trying to shoot the tank or some shit, and the tactical droid is like, ha 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 ha. The tank is indestructible, and then Ahsoka like throws a bomb at the tank, and it blows up on the tank, but just blows up the tactical droid.
Right.
Yeah.
Which the irony here pleased me. It was very nice.
I did enjoy this moment. Yeah, it was a good moment.
Yeah.
At this point, we cut back to the outside. Anakin improvises a new plan, and his new plan is don't retreat. Because the clones are like, we're getting the fuck out of here. Like, you set us up, we're all dying. He's like, no. Don't retreat. Don't retreat yet. Okay, now retreat. And then they like back off a little bit, and the idea is to get all these super tanks onto the bridge, which somebody should have seen this coming. And then
I was hoping that they blew up the bridge. In that first shot where we see Barriss and Ahsoka climbing down, and you see the whole bridge arcing over, and I was like, oh man, they better blow up that bridge.
And you're right, man. They did. So, cutting back and forth between these two stories for a little bit as things are like amping up, or whatever you want to call it. Anakin and Luminara have like incredible super grip because they just like swing underneath the bridge and they're just holding on to rocks. With like their fingertips. One-handed. Because they also have bags of bombs. They don't have a backpack, right? Did they each put a backpack of bombs on? They're like, Rax, bring over the backpack of bombs. Like, we need two more.
He's just got a pile. They take one off the pile of bomb backpacks.
Are they just force whipping them up? Like,
yeah, I'm not really sure. But they all have several bombs. And they crawl, I guess is the best word I can think of. They like monkey bar underneath the bridge.
Yeah.
But there's no bars. They're just like holding on to like rocks and like stalactites or something. And they feed a bunch of bombs onto the bottom of this bridge and then do some wicked awesome force flips like back up onto the bridge.
Yeah.
And then blow it up. And down fall the droids and the super tanks. So they're no more. But they probably learned that there is a new entrance into their sandcastle now.
I didn't get why Anakin and Luminara ended up on the wrong side at the end. Like I
didn't either.
They specifically seemed like they had planned to be on the wrong side of the bridge after it
Yeah.
exploded.
So which side is the wrong side? The side with the factory or the side without
with
the
the
factory?
factory. It was like
Okay.
all the clones were on the outside, like the approach, and Anakin and Luminara ended up on the factory side, trapped with the rest of the droids.
Right. And it's just the two of them.
And no escape.
Yep.
Yeah, but once they blow up like the super weapon, like everybody else is like, fuck, like we can't fight them.
Did they know that the bombs were armed at this point? Oh yeah, they did. Because they got notified immediately when the bombs were armed, right?
Something like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
The chronometer turned from like red to green or some shit.
That's
like that.
right.
It was
the
green o'clock.
It was green o'clock. Yes.
Which,
It was like
yeah.
we're a go.
Oh, Lord.
Red was bad, green is good.
So maybe they are just relying on like, oh yeah, we'll just be on the wrong side, but then it's all going to blow up anyway, and we'll just be safe.
I mean, that sounds like a terrible plan.
Right? I guess it's an
Yeah.
Anakin plan, so whatever.
Yeah, they're assuming a lot, which, as you said, Anakin plan. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the bridge blows up. All the clones like fist pump, like yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that Gra, man? Is that his name? Gra, Bra,
draw,
Draw.
Dra,
bro, draw.
Dra, Bra. Yeah, Dra. Like, where's Dra? Like, we gotta celebrate. Fist pump. Yeah. Anakin at this point gets really concerned for Ahsoka. Rex is like, we got some evac ships on the way. Like, they can't go and find her or something because the evacuation's like already in progress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. Anakin's like, nope, not leaving without Ahsoka. And at this point, he and Luminara have this debate on what you do with your Padawan when you sent your Padawan into a situation and they don't seem to have succeeded. Anakin's point of view is, no, I go and find my Padawan because she's my responsibility. She's my Padawan. I'm not leaving her. And Luminara is like, okay, you're not understanding me. Like, I'm not leaving her. I'm just saying I'm not going to get her, and I am prepared to leave her if I need to.
Yeah.
And Anakin's like, no, we're not leaving, right?
Luminara's like, I've put in 12 years of work raising this Padawan, and if she fucks up on, like, the last day, I mean, that's her fault. And Anakin's like, I've put in 2 months of work.
Right. We fought in 36 episodes of this show together.
A whole 2 weeks.
Don't you tell me what to do with my Padawan.
Yeah.
Or more like, don't you tell me what not to do with her. I don't know the analogy here, but it's something.
And then does Ahsoka interrupt them and say that they're not getting out?
Yeah. So like downside, catching up real quick on the downside. Barry takes over a tank. Yeah, so she takes over the tank that's down there. She cuts a hole, kills the droids that are inside. Ahsoka joins, and then they're like, "Well, we don't have the bombs, but we have a tank." And
Yeah, and Barriss says something that I boiled down to, Ahsoka, I don't know how to improvise.
Yes.
right,
Because she's like, our plan was to use the bombs, and now we don't have bombs, so now we can't execute the plan. I don't know what to do.
Her
therefore
mind
there's
is just
nothing.
blank.
Yeah, there's nothing we
I
can
am
do.
paralyzed with indecision. I have no candles, and I have no bombs.
And
So
she
I
can't
don't
talk to
know what do.
Luminara.
And
Right.
Luminara is not here to tell me what to do.
Yep,
So,
that's pretty much.
Yeah, so Ahsoka's plan is, okay, we use the tank. We're going to fucking blow this thing up.
Knock it over or blow it up.
Right. Like there are other things we can do. It's not game over yet. Don't hit that reset button.
Zach, I like your callback there to the way you described Ahsoka and Anakin's plans at the beginning of the episode. That was very
Thanks.
nice.
Thanks.
So this is basically a suicide plan, and they decide to shoot the thing.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They decide to shoot the control room
with them inside.
with them inside, and it blows up, and everything goes down, and Anakin is very sad. Lorenzo, you brought up that at some point in time, Ahsoka actually gets through on the chronometer and says we're not going to be able to make it out.
Right. So it's right, like literally moments before they pull the trigger or push the button or whatever they got to do.
Yeah.
They get one last call out, and she's like, "Master, we gotta shoot the thing." And Anakin's like, "With you guys down there?" We're like, "No." Like, what do you? And then she's like, "Goodbye," and then hits the button.
And then boom.
Yep.
So was Barriss on that call? Was that like did she have a chance to call up Luminara and just not take it, or was
Again,
like
she can't improvise. She has no idea that option is open.
I think that, yeah, it's probably like, well, like Ahsoka's way better at talking to her master than I am. I'll just let her, like, she didn't want to disappoint Luminara.
Yeah, she didn't want her last
and
moments.
if she doesn't say it, it didn't happen.
Yeah. She didn't want her last moments in this galaxy of just like getting berated. How dare you fail?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I realize that you're gonna die. I just wanted to let you know that it's your fault, just so you know. All right, bye forever.
Goodbye.
Right. And Luminara's like, look, I've been preparing for this time when you failed and got yourself dead, so I am prepared. My soul's prepared. How is yours?
Whoa,
Right.
fuck.
Like, I would rather you lived knowing that you failed, but dying knowing you failed, I will also take.
I'm accepting of this situation. And we got big crybaby Anakin over here, like, can't fucking deal with it.
Nope.
Yeah.
So things start exploding everywhere. There's smoke going everywhere. Things are falling apart, rubble falling everywhere. It's essentially the Clone Wars equivalent of 9/11, visually speaking.
Yeah, my notes are boom, big boom, small blast radius, huge concussive cloud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cloud definitely is what drew my mind to that imagery. Because you got the clones like
Yeah.
running too. They're like, we gotta
Oh, for sure.
everybody get down.
Yeah.
And then immediately you have Anakin and Luminara standing right next to the blast crater.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They're
And
fine.
then there's
So-
rubble everywhere, so they start digging through the rubble trying to find Ahsoka and
Well-
Barry.
Well, they don't.
Oh, well,
they-
they have another...
Yeah, Anakin's like, don't worry, I got this. We're going to dig them out. And Luminara's like, no, be at ease. Like, you are finally free of the burden of the Padawanship.
You
Like,
just get
this is
another
what you
one. They got a
wanted.
load of them back at the temple.
Right.
Right. You
like-
didn't even order this one.
Christ. It's like Luminara like leans in. It's like, hey, well, you had all that money saved up for her college tuition. You can have a vacation now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, what?
And Anakin's like, no, I'm going to personally find her if I have to dig her up with my hands.
With my
Again.
hands, and I won't use the Force because it'll be more meaningful.
Ultimate chill on Lumi. Like,
Yeah.
ultimate chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are we considering her mildly psychotic? Because I will. Like,
I don't really know. She's like super emotionless, and she's matter of fact. Is this, to be contrary, is this the way that the Jedi teachings are supposed to lead you?
I think
Where,
so.
Like, I think this is where you're supposed to go, because Anakin is the rogue here. He's the one
Yeah.
that's off teaching.
Yeah.
that makes sense. But then I still feel like if it was like Mace or Obi-Wan there would still be some sense of emotion at the very least. Like, there would be acceptance very
Yeah.
quickly, I would think.
Mhm.
But there would still be like a moment of like, oh shit, that happened. At the least. Whereas Luminara is like, yeah, that's life. C'est la vie, bitches. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like like Mace and Obi are like know all the teachings, but they also just kind of like read between the lines and kind of improvise a little bit. Whereas Luminara is much more like, no, this is what the book says. Like, I'm just gonna only follow the book. Like, she's just really convinced that like the Jedi teachings are the most correct. Whereas like Mace and Obi-Wan are like, all right, come on, like this is some old books, all right.
Right. Like there's a lot
they
missing.
were not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, page turners they were not. Whereas Luminara is like, no, I love those books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
God help anybody who watches
Barriss,
a movie with her.
Do you remember what's on page 3, line 7, word number 6?
Yeah, no, yeah, like that's
it's
what I was saying.
Trust,
Like,
okay?
God
That's
help.
what it is. It's trust.
God. Yeah. Anybody who's like watching a film adaptation based on a book with her has to be like the worst movie going experience. Like, it's like we all know that one Harry Potter superfan that freaks the fuck out anytime changes are made into the movie. I'm like, yeah, that's how movies work. They have to be different because they're a visual medium.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up. I don't care if the spell was different. Like, so, that's Luminara in a nutshell.
I care.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have definitely been in a theater where the stranger next to me said the spell that was supposed to be incanted before it happens, and it wasn't. And, like, 4 of them were all like, what the fuck? I was like, it's a movie. It'll be fine. Like, relax. Your childhood is still intact. Don't worry. I don't know what to tell you.
I called out bullshit very loudly during Revenge of the Sith when Anakin is bitching to Obi-Wan about being on the council and not being a master, and he's like, it's never happened in the history of the Republic. And so I stood up and pointed at the screen and yelled bullshit because of something I read on the back of a toy box. And the
Very
Ki-Adi-Mundi
nice,
figure from the Attack of the Clones line, very specifically on the back of the box, says that Ki-Adi-Mundi is a Jedi Knight and not a Jedi Master, and yet was still on the Council, and it is rare. Hasn't happened in a while, but that is his situation. That is why I had to, stand up and make my peace with the world.
So do you think we were missing a scene of Ki-Adi also standing there being a little bitch about the situation? Like,
no, I think we missed a scene where Obi-Wan was like, what, Anakin, you don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my boy Ki-Adi just fucking graduated last week. Like, go congratulate him. He's like 56 and he just became a master. He's been on the council for like 37 years. Like, chill out.
yeah, but his Padawan
Now
had
go
to die
spy
for
on
that.
go spy on Palpatine. Sheev, You guys are buddies.
Yeah.
We've sent you to do this mission like 8 times and you're fucking surprised. Shut up and go do it.
Just remember, people aren't good spies in this universe, so
Right.
nobody's a good spy. As
You had a
resistance.
Padawan, you lost your Padawan, you didn't learn your lesson, now you're going to spy on the Chancellor.
Right. Yeah, nobody can spy in this universe. Except for Padme. Padme does okay.
Yeah, Padme's good at that.
Yeah.
And
But because she uses her body.
Kazuda
she's smart.
Ziono, he can spy.
Uh,
He talks about it all the time.
he tells everybody he's a spy. Just endlessly annoying still. Yeah, have you seen Resistance? Have you gotten to that?
No, I haven't had a chance yet.
Okay. It's about spying. Like, the whole premise is about spying.
Yeah.
So the main character Kaz, like,
Another weird age
for some
situation.
reason becomes a spy, and so for part of the first and part of the second episode, he kind of walks around going, hey, I'm a spy. I gotta do spy things. Like, I'm gonna spy BB-8. Help me spy. Don't you know I'm a spy? I should be spying. So, yeah, you guys and listeners included, listen to those 2 episodes. Those are out, or I guess by the time this comes out, it's probably 4 or 5, or I don't know how many.
Yeah, I think just the third one.
Be,
No. Yeah, just the third one.
We'll be a few.
Oh.
We'll be a few in.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know how to do math.
We're on a roll.
My
we're too deep
my
now.
My chronometer was not synced.
That's the problem.
I do not know what episode of Resistance just came out.
That's all right. So things blowed up. They're trying to dig.
Yeah. So I don't. Did you guys notice that, like, in the background, either Anakin or Rex calls in, like, the lat carriers to, like, pick up debris and remove it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? Are they just removing debris? Or, like, because it's in the background, it's not, like, at ground zero of the explosion, and it's too quick for Anakin to have said, like, send that shit in to like, dig Ahsoka out. And I don't know what's going on. Is like they're a greedy pilot that's like, dude, you see that big chunk of thing? Like, I want that. Don't pick up the ATTE. I want that. And they, like, pick it up and they fly off.
That's valuable metal, guys.
I think there was like a time jump, like between the explosion and when the debris carriers come in.
But they're still standing there, like, debating what to do when your Padawan.
Yeah, because they're trapped.
Doesn't come back.
They're sitting there like, well, we blew up the bridge. Huh. That was dumb.
But then there's also, like, a trooper over there, like, immediately after that.
I don't know.
Anakin's face is still definitely very dirty, and
that's true.
Yeah, so Anakin's dirty. Luminara still looks like Luminara.
Well, yeah, because she's always fine. She's always, like, refined and, like, completely put together.
It's that cold, steely shell she puts on. So.
Yeah.
It's very, very true. So Rex arrives to remove some debris. We pan down. Like, we don't do, like, a wipe. We don't do a cut. We, like, pan down through the rocks and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To our Padawan friends.
Yeah.
They kind of have opposing views of what's going on, where Barriss just accepts her fate, and she's like, this is for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we did, and it happened. And she's accepting of her fate of death. Her comment is, I would rather have died up there fighting than down here starving to death. To which Ahsoka, the ever-pragmatic Padawan of Anakin, says, oh, we're not going to starve to death. Like, we're going to run out of oxygen. Don't worry. You don't have to starve to death.
Yeah.
This totally seems like an Anakin and Ahsoka fall down holes way too often. And Anakin's like, let me tell you how this works.
Right. Don't worry about taking some snack cakes with you.
Yeah, the snacks don't matter.
What you need is a bag of air. Take a bag of air.
Or, like, it cuts to Barry and she's just, like, freaked out, but it cuts back to Ahsoka and she's just like,
yeah.
And Anakin's like, if anything ever happens, I'm going to, like, build a suit that just always gives me air. Even if I can't eat, I'm not going to worry about it, because you need air to survive. You need to be able to breathe. Like, I'm not worried about the food part of it.
They're also holding their lightsabers at this point. Like, they're
as flashlights?
As flashlights. They're in the cockpit of the tank. And they've
Are they?
I thought they were. I thought they were in the tank and just, like, completely trapped.
I thought they were.
I'm going to side with Kevin on this one. At the moment of watching it, it did not look like they were in the tank, from what you could see.
Okay, I'm gonna side with Zach on this. At the moment of watching it, it looks like they're in the tank.
See, I didn't think it didn't look like the tank to me, because it was like, but it was missing so many details in the animation. Like, you could really only see their faces and just shit around them. And again, I think maybe it's also because my mind went to, like, that Oliver Stone World Trade Center movie where they're, like, stuck in debris. You know, so I was like, oh, that's like they got all fucked up. But, like, so, in my head, it would only make sense that they're in the tank if they were still together. But, like, visually from what we saw before of the tank, there was room to walk around in the tank before, but then this time they were, like, scrunched together and they're really close. And
so here's what I thought happened, is that a giant fucking factory just fell on top of them and it squished the tank, and they're trapped inside the tank because they were in the tank with everything sealed up with its indestructible armor when they blew up the control room.
Yes.
Right. And they have their little debate about how they're going to die or how they should feel about this. Ahsoka's like, no, I'm fighting my way out of here. She's like, hold my flashlight, lightsaber. It's the opposite of being a human kid, where human kids have flashlights and pretend they're lightsabers. And these bitches have lightsabers and pretend they're flashlights. Right?
Yeah, and they're just waving them around. They're like, everything's fine. There's room for a lightsaber in here.
But that's what I'm saying. They're just smashed in there. Like, I don't...
And then also... Ahsoka says, hey, hand me one of those power converters or power supplies or whatever it is.
Yeah.
To which Barriss like pulls one out of the wall or whatever they're next to. I thought they were in the cockpit, so that would make sense that there were some power supplies. Hands it to Ahsoka. She does some weird shit like hot wiring it and then like jabs her chronometer with it. And I guess sends off some sort of Morse code.
I guess.
I don't know what it was.
Again, it started seeming like Morse code, and then it went nowhere, so I think it was more of just like a, hey, there's signal coming through. Because the next thing Anakin says, he goes, it's coming from over there. And I'm like,
yeah, which, like, what the fuck?
How did you get that information?
Did your watch tell you that?
Right.
The chronometer told him. Lorenzo, do you remember Short Circuit, the movie?
I know
Zach,
of
have
it,
you ever seen Short Circuit with Johnny Five?
I saw Short Circuit years ago.
Okay, so in Short Circuit 2...
Oh, no.
There is a racial stereotype Indian fellow and a white dude that pair up.
Indian being from India, or Indians the way Trump refers to Native Americans?
From India.
Okay.
Or... I guess I should say from that region, but
South Asia.
Definitely, his character plays the stereotype of the Middle Eastern,
South Asian,
yeah. Right? Okay,
yeah.
So less Middle Eastern, more South Asian, however you want to put that. I'm gonna say the Indian stereotype in movies in the 80s.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they get stuck in like a bank vault or some shit, and the white dude's like, or one of them's like, yeah, like we'll use Morse code. So they like break this phone because they can't dial out for some reason. They call like one of their girlfriends or like business associates or something, and they both essentially are like, I thought you knew Morse code. Like, no, I thought you knew Morse code. And the white dude looks at the other guy, and he's like, will you fix the fucking robot? Like, don't you know Morse code? And he's like, no, I don't know Morse code. So then they're like, just like tapping out like a tune, and they called some chick named Rhonda, and they're just like, beep, 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 help me, Rhonda. Like, and they just start playing like, help me, Rhonda. Maybe they didn't actually call a person named Rhonda, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? So that's like what happens in this maybe cockpit, right? Where she starts like where it sounds like Morse code, and then by the end of it, she's like, beep, 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 Master Anakin, beep, beep, I know, beep, you can beep, beep, hear me. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty representative. Yeah.
But so you guys will have to watch this
someday.
Okay.
But then from Anakin's end, when his chronometer, did I say it? Yes, I did it. Chronometer gives him a direction. In my head, it was like the full. Did you guys watch SpongeBob with the conch?
Yeah,
where he's like, the conch just randomly tells people to save you. Like, it's like, hey guys, my conch told me to save you, and he just shows up with no other information.
Yep,
the conch saved us. Like,
yeah,
it would be better if Anakin's chronometer had like a pull string on it then.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because doesn't the conch have a pull string?
Yep, and that's because it talks to them.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah, so Anakin is like, okay, well this happened, and she's definitely in there. She's like right there, and Rex, who magically is on this side of the bridge now,
yep.
Offers to get one of his American picker buddies in the clone army to like come and dig through the rubble, and Anakin's like, no, we don't have time. So Luminara just knows what they're gonna do, and they reach out with the Force, and they pick up this big slab of concrete, and out walk Ahsoka and Barriss. But when it's like from their POV, the concrete is lifted off, and they're outside of the tank. So they were inside the tank at some point in time. When they shot the thing and blew everything up, I guess it ejected them from the indestructible tank. And then they're outside of the tank, but they're also close enough to some power converters to reenact that scene from Short Circuit 2, right? And then there's one piece of debris on top of them. Like, they didn't even...
they didn't even try.
The attempt to,
Barriss should have given this rock a hug.
Right.
And then just, like, cut a rectangle, and they would have been out. Like, everything would have been good.
They also, like, they seem like they were right about to pass out. Like, Barriss was gone, and Ahsoka was, like, passing out with the Morse code. And when they started, it seemed like Ahsoka was like, oh yeah, we're gonna run out of air first. And I was like, oh yeah, in like a couple of hours. No, they had like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like 30 seconds. Ahsoka ran out of air, and Barriss nearly starved to death.
I'm not gonna lie. I noticed that too, but I attributed it to Barriss just being that down on life. Like, I was like, I think she's just always this lethargic. I think that's just her. Because I was like, Ahsoka seems fine-ish. Like, she's definitely lower energy, but I think that's just how Barriss is all the time. So I can't attribute that to a lack of air.
Yeah. I guess they are also different species, so like maybe their breathing is different. Like maybe Ahsoka just needs less oxygen.
Maybe.
Yeah,
and that's
Barriss is a Marillion, Mirialan, from Marilia.
Yeah.
So
have we met any other Marillions?
Luminara.
Oh, duh. So just those two.
Yeah, other
that's
than
it.
them, I can't think of any others. There's probably some senator.
I would imagine
hiding
there's a
away
senator,
somewhere,
and I might be able to fill you in here. Lorenzo, do you want to wrap up the rest of this episode, which isn't too much? I mean,
yeah. So they clear it out. There's like a good reunion, but then again,
the reunion shot was really good with the like Ahsoka and Anakin walk up face to face, and then they're like bookended by Barriss and Luminara face to face.
Yes,
it was a great shot.
And yeah, so you can like the contrast is there. Like, there's a happy reunion with Ahsoka and Anakin, and Anakin's like, I knew you were alive, and I knew you could do it, and blah blah blah. And
he's like, I trusted you.
Yeah, like this whole time, I knew it. I fucking knew it. And then Luminara comes up. It's like, good job on surviving.
If you had died, nothing would have changed.
Yeah. I would have been sad for about 20 seconds and then moved on. It's like Dr. Evil and Mini-Me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what I would do without you. I'd be sad for about an hour and then I'd move on.
Yeah.
By the way, there are 13 canonical appearances of different Marillions. And by the looks of the names, they all look female.
Interesting.
So it's like a Jurassic Park situation, or?
I hope so.
Do you mean they have like frog DNA?
No, they're all female, but they
still
like reproduce.
Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Yeah.
That's why you knew she was 21, you sick bastard.
Yeah. I did like
I'm not falling into that trap, Lorenzo. Not doing it.
Luminara says something that's like to Anakin, like, oh, you have to be ready to let your Padawan go.
Right.
Which is super interesting, because this is, like, early Season 2, and we know, like, Ahsoka eventually leaves in, like, the end of, like, Season 5 or something.
Right.
Or, like, Season 4, which is way far in the future. So I'm curious if this was actually a setup, like if the writers knew that, like, oh, eventually we have to take Ahsoka away, so, like, she's gonna leave. So, like we're going to, like, put these seeds in now.
Which makes sense, knowing that, by the time you get to Revenge of the Sith, she's gone. So, that's a good thought, but for me, based on the show prior,
Yeah.
I just don't see the writers thinking that way. But
Okay, so hold up a second. Doesn't Yoda tell Anakin, like, in the movie, he either tells Anakin or Obi-Wan, like, part of the reason I'm doing this is so that he can learn to let go?
Yes.
yeah,
Yep, that's exactly what he says.
Okay.
Which is all sorts of fucked up and doesn't work.
nope, definitely not.
No, it all, for me, it kind of ruins the whole Padawan ship deal, because Yoda can just be like, you, go with him you will. Train him you must. Learn things.
Yeah.
It's just kind of fucked up. Like, he wants to teach Anakin something, so he just throws Ahsoka into this fucking war with him.
Yeah. And then Anakin turned into one of the worst people in the galaxy. Whoops.
Whoopsie-daisy.
That was a bad idea, it turned out.
So I think that Ahsoka leaves in, like, the very end of the 6th season.
That's not right. The
Because...
the 6th season is the Netflix season.
So, okay, then it's, like, the last episode of season 5, which is titled
Yeah.
The Wrong Jedi.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
right.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah. End
Yeah.
of season 5 sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I recall, she barely makes an appearance in the, like, few Netflix episodes we get. But
We have 13 Netflix episodes, and I don't remember how many she's in. But
Yeah.
Jar Jar's in 2 of them. I can tell you that much.
that is...
Yeah, I think, Lorenzo, I think you're right that it's only just a couple of appearances.
Yeah, because, like, the last arc that gets completed is, like, a Yoda-specific arc.
Yeah. And then
That's what I remember most.
There's the clones with the chips in their head arc, right? I think that's the middle.
I don't remember that one at all, but... Yeah, so, yeah, Ahsoka's, like, gone.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But prior
So
to
how
Rebels,
does this
I
one
would've-
wrap up? What's up?
Oh, prior to Rebels, I would have been like, she did, but nope. Nope.
Yeah.
I still
And-
haven't seen the finale of Rebels, so don't spoil that for me.
Oh, she
please.
did. No.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't
holding
know.
out on that one. I don't know why. Probably because I watch fucking Clone Wars like 50 times a week.
Yeah.
So.
We'll get to that one in 2.5 years. So
Yeah, we'll get there.
fine.
Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Like, everybody's reunited, and
Yeah. So Lumi's just being a Debbie
Ahsoka
Downer.
is responsible.
Yeah.
Anakin is happy. That's about it, right?
Yeah.
And then we pan out on some lats, and then cue loud music.
Cue loud music, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iris in. George Lucas's name makes an appearance, as it always does. But yeah, that's the episode.
So, as far as voice actors go, the only new one that I saw this week was Meredith Salander as Barriss Offee. But we actually have seen her before. She was... No, we haven't seen her. Have we? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We'll get to that later. Yeah, that's who she is. Some white lady named Meredith.
Nice.
Born March 14th, 1970. How about that?
Very nice. That's so much information. But
Yeah.
that's what we do on the show. Just random information
Mhm.
about anything, everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or like on Zilla,
sure.
the first Zilla Beast, I went on a Godzilla versus James Bond rant. For like 20 solid minutes, and Kevin didn't stop me. So
Nope. I let you roll, man.
you asked me
I'm being
questions
educated at
too.
the same
Yeah, you were
time.
asking me more questions. You were like, so how does James Bond universe like pass on, and how do
I know.
these theories roll? And I'm like, no. We do not abide
Every
by those
once in a
theories.
while, I'm like, ooh, I'm curious about this, but this is a bad thing to do. Hey, Lorenzo, I have a question.
I'm like, yeah, like, well, like, the thing about James Bond is, there's only one break of the fourth wall in the entire series.
I'm still going with that movie The Rock is a James Bond movie. So
Yeah, and I hear that often, but no.
I know because I say it often.
Right, yeah. but it's a theory I'd heard before you. There's that one. There's James Bond is a Time Lord. That one I might believe. And then James Bond being the code name for a person and not the person's name.
Except that in the most recent series, they established that it's his real name.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things wrong with Spectre to begin with. But
yeah.
As many people do in our society now, I choose not to believe that, so I just won't.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Perfect.
And who knows? They might reboot this whole thing again after this next movie, so who knows? Who knows? But anyway.
I have heard that officially, I don't know if it was the studio that said, or whoever is in charge of licensing rights said that definitively James Bond will never, ever be female.
Which he cannot, because here's the thing. Doctor Who can be a female because it's built into the character, right? The character regenerates, and it's a different face, different body, different personality every time. So every time the Doctor regenerates, a new personality is being formed.
Right, because Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig have the same face and the same personality and are the same person.
Yep.
Right. Well, yes. So, technically speaking, even though the tone of the James Bond movies changed drastically between Dr. No and just even going to Moonraker, I love how everybody always picks on Die Another Day as being the movie that was so bad that blah blah blah. I'm no, it's Moonraker by far.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Or Jaws falling in love with a girl. I'm guys, come on. But James Bond carries the memories throughout each different actor's incarnations. It's the same character.
Right, but they're saying reboot, spin-off, everything doesn't matter, never will happen.
Right. I mean, because it's built into the character. The character is supposed to be a dick. That's why I like GoldenEye.
Are you saying women can't be dicks?
Yeah, you can make a lady that's a real asshole.
The whole point to me is that it's James Bond is an old world hangover from the Cold War, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so it's supposed to be the reflection of everything that was wrong with that line of thinking, you know? He's a misogynistic, womanizing, drunkard asshole, right?
All right.
So, just the legacy of the...
How dare you talk about Indiana Jones's dad like that?
Right. I mean, even in Indiana Jones, they both had sex with the same woman, you know? But to me, in my core, you can... My hope is, in having rebooted it with Daniel Craig, that they will never do that again, because the whole way that franchise works to me is that it was a shared history amongst all of them, and for us to now set up this precedent where we're going Spider-Man with it, I don't want James Bond to be Spider-Man where we set up a new background, new history. Then I have to keep straight what the history is, where I liked knowing that Pierce Brosnan's Bond is the same Bond that went to space and fought Blofeld, right?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
So that's why to me you can't make James Bond a woman unless on screen James Bond is this is who I am. Okay?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense is why you'd say that. I'd still like to see a lady James Bond. That'd be real cool.
I wouldn't mind the ideas that they had of they had a twofer and they really wasted both of them poorly, but Tomorrow Never Dies, Michelle Yeoh was the match. She was the one that was you suck at spying. What are you doing? Why are you shooting your way out of this room? I'm gonna just grapple down the side of this fucking wall like a smart person. And then the other attempt at it was Halle Berry's Jinx. And there were rumors about her getting spun off and stuff. And so I don't mind other female characters.
Yeah, but then
holding
it
their own.
would have ended up like Catwoman, and it would have been like Jane Bummed or some shit like that, and it would have been fucking terrible.
But nothing will ever be as terrible as that basketball scene from Catwoman. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I actually only recently
Oh my
watched Catwoman, and I don't know if I saw the entire thing.
Oh my god, there's a stupid scene real quick. She's showing off her like cat lady powers. And they show her like dribbling a basketball. So here's what happens. She dribbles a basketball, runs up, takes the shot. Like she does like an fucking she J-hooks it in, right? In the span of something like 45 seconds, there's like 80 fucking shot changes. So it's like on every...
It was like that entire movie with Jennifer Lawrence and the mop. That was one long montage.
Joy.
That was fucking terrible.
You didn't want to watch a lady living her dreams of putting a mop together and then hiring a bunch
No,
of
I am
Hispanics
I am completely okay with that as long as like at least 30 seconds elapses in between cuts, because it was like reaction shot, cut, somebody looking at something, cut, ooh, I have a mop, cut, ooh, I actually cut my hands, cut.
Yep.
Where's the bucket? Cut. Clean up after the man, cut.
But you are also
No.
the man that does like Moulin Rouge, though, right?
I love Moulin Rouge.
Same thing. Like
No.
Yeah, but Moulin Rouge is good.
that is true. I'll give that. Yeah, as a major Moulin Rouge fan.
Right, put Obi-Wan Kenobi in a movie about a lady with a mop.
Yeah.
I'm
Have him
sure
sing some
that's been
songs.
done. I'm sure there are some mops in The Impossible or something. You know.
Could be.
Some-
I'm going to pull us back
yes,
into
please,
this.
please do.
Because we did at least say we named a Star Wars character in the past 15 minutes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's not in this episode, right? At all?
No, he
No.
was injured. He was injured in the last episode.
So him
Okay,
and
speaking
Kiadi
of-
are.
And
Yeah.
speaking of injured, I have not watched Forward, but I can tell you that on the official description of the events of this episode, it essentially says that Barriss and Ahsoka are kind of just like shipped away to recover from their injuries from this episode. So I don't know if they're going to be in like the following two parts of this 5-parter, but we talked about what happened. And so, Zach, it's at this point that we place judgment upon episode.
You've never said it like that.
Okay, well, how would you... I'll let Lorenzo describe.
We give our overall opinions.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
place judgment on it, yeah.
Yeah,
Place
that's true.
judgment.
Yeah, we place full judgment on the episode. So,
And it's completely binary. There's no... It's,
yeah,
it's thumbs up or thumbs down.
I like it.
full Siskel and Ebert here. So
Yep, that's it. So
being the guest, we'll let you start off. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and why?
Cool. This
and
episode,
if you choose incorrectly, we will ridicule you. So choose
But
wisely.
If you choose correctly, you earn our respect.
Oh, you don't
For
give that
life.
away very often. This episode, I like the plot. I like the characters. I liked a lot of the shots. Give this episode thumbs up.
Awesome.
Nice. Very nice. Kevin, would you like to?
I'm thumbs up as well. This was, yeah, we're good, man.
Yeah.
It's, I'm trying to see where I'm up 3 weeks more than 3 weeks in a row, but so far the first 3 parts, of this 5-part story arc, I am at least 3/5 thumbs up. I dug it. It's good. It continues kind of where we left off pretty well. I enjoyed the things that I learned about it, that the initial droid factory was destroyed. Like, that seems like a super victory for the Republic. That's awesome. Like go good guys in armor, you know? And, but at the same time, like, the Separatists are like, nope, we're fucking rebuilding this, and they did it by any means necessary. They got a Senate spy to, like, come to their side and, back this plan, and and push forward with fighting back against, who they see as the bad guys. So, some of the snarky comments and shit in the middle were whatever, but we also see two completely different views of Padawanship from the top and from the bottom, and it's nice to see those juxtaposed with each other to kind of give us a more broad picture of this whole thing in a grand scope and in a more microscope also.
Yeah, very nice. I'm gonna follow both of you and agree wholeheartedly. Thumbs up for me on this one too. So all around well put together episode, entertaining. No awful jokes per se. Like no joke really landed terribly flat. Even when the droids are freaking out on the bridge, like even that one, I was like, I'll give him that one. That one's good. It's a good droid moment. Whereas Kevin knows early on the show, I was not down for any of the droid humor whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Not at all.
Oh, no. I was not in.
You got to be into it.
And thus far, Lorenzo is still overall thumbs down on this. He's 21-16. I am 10 down to 27 up, so my score is a 72.97. Lorenzo's is a 43.24, and so far our guests have Zach. You've tipped the hat to the positive direction, and we're at 60% positive for guests coming on the show.
Nice,
very nice. Yeah, see what happens when you give the guests like good episodes instead of weird Jar Jar filled ones.
Ooh, yeah.
Did we have a Jar Jar filled one?
I don't think so. Not for the guests, but we had Grievous and the one afterwards.
Oh, yeah, but Peter and Mike from Rebels were on for Dooku Captured, and it definitely featured Jar Jar Binks.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I like the part of that episode that doesn't have Jar Jar in it.
There's a lot where Jar Jar doesn't bother me a lot. He's fine. What bothers me more in the Clone Wars about Jar Jar is when they have the replacement voice. Like that bugs me. But Jar Jar being like a comic fucking doofus, I'm okay with it sometimes.
All right.
Yeah. See, where again I'm like Luminara in this sense. I guess I just have no humor. No good humor that flows through these bones, obviously.
You're just gonna go home, memorize all 200 junctures in a catacomb.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I only ever got to 197 because my friends knocked on the doors and wanted to go out and have some beverages.
You want to come out? No. And then she just sits in a swing by herself, just looking down on the ground, kicking the wood chips.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty much.
No friends at all. So yeah.
Lorenzo, you got anything else for this episode? Anything you wanna bring up, touch upon?
No, I think
revisit other than James Bond.
No, the last thing I want to kind of note with being this, now that we're 3 out of 5, I like that. Kevin and I were discussing the last episode that it was interesting that this was called a 5-part arc, even though the episodes, they had light things that led into each other, but between Senate Spy and the landing at Point Rain, the only connecting tissue was that the base was discovered in Senate Spy, and then they're going to the base in the next one. But really, they were 2 distinct stories, and I would say the same for this one. And I personally really like that. It feels like how a TV show should progress, rather than just random things happening here and there, which is fine in a war, but it just still needs to feel a little bit more connective than random shit here or random shit there. This planet liberated, this planet invaded.
Yeah, I think Clone Wars is at its best when you've got a 3 or 4 episode chunk all set together with some common themes and a common aesthetic and a common like style to it. But on the other hand, I do like some of the one-off episodes. So
Yeah, like there are strong one-off episodes for sure, but like the bad example was I always forget. It's the one where, because like they did that one episode that had the cliffhanger where people were trying to poison Anakin and Obi-Wan's drinks. They did the switcheroo on the drinks.
Yeah.
And then in the next one, they were drunk or poisoned or something anyways.
Yep. Yeah, they do. Yeah. It seems like Clone Wars had made some weird writing choices where they would often make like a 2-part arc, and the first one you could watch the entirety of it and not know that it was in a 2-part arc.
Yeah.
That is the way that this works, and this is a 5-piece.
Right.
Yep.
Like the first one you can watch on its own. The second one you can also watch on its own, but it is part 2. The third one you're like, okay, this is a part of something else, but it's actually a part of 3 things, not like 2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there are some bizarre choices sometimes. That's why I wanted to do this like thumbs up, thumbs down thing, so that after we go through every episode and we've talked about the Clone Wars from start to finish, we can look at our own opinions in 22-minute segments and say, yes, we liked this show, or no, we didn't.
Oh, cool.
And kind of go from there. Because, like, I've always thought, like, I watched this shit when it came out, 9 years ago, pushing 10 years ago. And when I met Lorenzo, we met in line at a Star Wars convention last year.
Yeah.
And so Lorenzo was talking about Rebels and telling me how badass Rebels was, because he had just you had just gone to the Rebels panel like earlier that morning.
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
Yeah. And so you got to see the first episode or first 2 episodes of season 4.
Yeah, I think it was the first, and then
Ooh.
that's when Filoni announced that was the last season.
Fuck.
As well. So yeah, it was like super emotional.
Yeah.
People were crying, and like it was like right before he even started the episode, he's like, "So I got good news and bad news." So
good news, I got a new hat.
right, yeah, like more fedoras. And bad news, this is the last season. Thanks everybody. Like, wait, what? Like, bitch, come back. You gotta explain. Like, what?
So Lorenzo was all talking about Rebels and how badass Rebels is, and I need to watch Rebels. And I was like, no, Lorenzo, Clone Wars is where it's at, man. So
I think I like vividly remember like laughing at you. I was like, no, not Clone Wars. Like, no.
right, and now you're on a Clone Wars show. So
Yes.
who won that fucking?
Well,
Who won that one?
again,
buddy?
look at my percentage, and
Hey, you've been creeping up lately. You're on a 5 week uptick.
Yeah.
that is good. Yeah, that is a strange
I think this
oddity.
is your longest stretch of thumbs ups, tied earlier by an earlier 5 weeks. So next week may be the deciding factor,
We'll
and then
see.
we can just quit this shenanigan.
right.
But yeah, so I remember this is a long story for me to explain that. I remember like loving watching the Clone Wars. Like I thought it was great, and then as I'm an older adult now, I'm like, well, was it really great? Because like there's things that I remember about it that I know for sure I didn't like.
Yep.
There's one episode in the future that I'm looking forward to fucking tearing apart, because I know I will give it as many thumbs down as I can, which
Ooh.
unfortunately is only 1. But so
Looking
remembering
forward to that
that
one.
also, I was like, okay, like well, I'm gonna track this thing and see how we fare overall. So
Nice.
that's the history of that. But Zach, why don't you tell everybody, if you want to share social media things or talk about your podcast a little more or anything?
Yeah, totally.
Where can you be found online, and plug away, man?
Yeah, totally.
The floor is yours.
So you can find the podcast if you search for ReCloned. That's ReCloned. ReClonedPod.tumblr.com is where we publish all our episodes. You can also find it on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at ReClonedPod. If you want to follow me more, I'm at Brickman1444 on Twitter. I post about a bunch of silly stuff, often video games, because I'm a video game developer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Things that I never would have known.
Yeah.
That's fun. Whereas, so then you and I can both help Kevin with tech stuff then.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the computers work at all.
We'll have to go.
No.
Please. We'll have to go 50-50 on this split.
Yeah,
what
I
are
fucking-
computers?
I don't know. I don't know what computers are. It's very sad.
It's okay. It's okay.
I work outside, so
That's fine. So yeah, you're more
I do
like
that.
you can explain to me mechanical stuff, and then I'll explain to you, like, yeah, computer operating system stuff. So
yeah. I think I was I talking to you the other day about fuel injectors and starter coils or
Right.
something, and explaining what I was doing working on a truck at work, and you were just kind of rolling with it. And I thought at one point I was like, I don't know if Lorenzo knows what I'm talking about, but
thing is, I do, only because
I mean, I didn't really know what I was talking about. So
right, like
at least you did.
I have a mild idea of how automobiles work, only because again, that's just like the weird nerdy part of me that needs to know how shit works. So.
Yeah.
You know, like having a curtain drawn on the magic does not ruin it for me. I'm just more curious than anything. So, yeah.
You've been to Oz and back.
Right.
So if you want to find us, I don't know how you got this far without knowing where to find us, but Twitter, Not the Nerds, that's me. Facebook, Not the Nerds Podcast, that's Lorenzo. Gmail is notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. We are on most downloadable podcatchers. These aren't the nerds you're looking for. Go over and check us out on YouTube and give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a rating. I don't know if they have ratings. It's just thumbs up, right? You just like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Give us a rating. Give us a rating on iTunes. You know,
Yeah.
feedback's good. It's cool. Otherwise, shouts out to @TheyCallMeKdub on Twitter. Thanks again, Kevin, for your amazing work doing our podcast logo stuff, and Lindsay over at strangefantasymusic@gmail.com putting together our jingle. So other than that, if you guys don't have anything else to say, I think next week is Legacy of Terror, and these aren't the nerds you're looking for.
Thanks
Nice.
again for coming on. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, sorry. Hey Zach, thanks. Sometimes I get wrapped up in whatever I'm saying, and I don't.
Kevin's
think
just
about
like, you just have to be
other things.
fine with letting these guests go. Just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
they come,
I was prepared.
they go.
I was prepared. I brought him here. We talked about some things, and I was prepared. And
Yeah.
apparently Lorenzo was not.
No.
Yeah.
See, I
Gotta
just,
be
You're holding on.
I hold on.
prepared to let go.
Yeah. So, there it is. That's our show.
Yeah. Cue loud music.